Hello, dear startup and corporate community. A very warm welcome to our side event. My name is Slavisa Milanovic, and it is my pleasure to be your host. Obviously, and unfortunately, a digital one. I and our panel would love to meet you in person, but the global COVID-19 pandemic has our world still in strong grip. It has been again a challenging year, marked by a virus that changed the world as we know it. A new reality occurred in which meetings and events like this one are held solely digitally. Due to travel restrictions, our air travels gave way to home leave, and by necessity, the industry has had to scale back their capacities, in some cases even shutting down. While the corona pandemic represents an immense existential and psychological burden for us humans, at the same time it provides some visible relief in nature. So is there at least one winner in this whole crisis? It seems not. The latest findings draw a very stubborn interim balance in that regard. Despite our collective renouncement and some short-term visible effects like, you all know those videos of dolphins in the canals of Venice, right? So that kind of stuff. Still, there is no noticeable effect on our climate. According to recent studies, there is even a new record-setting high amount of concentration of greenhouse gases in our atmosphere. Therefore, despite the current framework conditions with Corona, I would like to point out that it's very important to actively discuss sustainability in business and to join the discussion with us. Lower Austria, with more than 100,000 companies and is the largest federal state of Austria, is at the spearhead of that movement. Therefore, we would like to illuminate together with you the following topic in our side event today: sustainable development. For this, we invited people from politics, startups, corporates, and science. We will start and kick off with our first speaker, Jochen Danninger, Provincial Councillor of Lower Austria for Economy, Sport and Tourism. Please, Jochen.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. A warm welcome to all entrepreneurs. I'm honored to start off the side event on the topic, Do you care for future? We too. Dealing with future developments has to have priority for all of us, especially in regard to sustainability and innovation. I'm therefore pleased that you are taking the time today to discuss the challenges of the future with us. Thank you very much for your interest. As Slavisa had already introduced, the past year has shown how quickly changes can occur both on a professional level and in everyday life. However, this has also shown that it has to be a major concern of all of us to actively counter future developments with innovative approaches. The corona crisis has brought some topics into focus. The importance of a functioning economy and manufacturing companies. They stand for jobs, security of supply, prosperity, and ultimately for social peace. At the same time, the value of an intact nature and how lucky we are here in Lower Austria to have one. Despite all the current challenges, Lower Austria still has a permanent place among the top business locations in Europe. We have managed to maintain a high environmental standard, which today is also an important location factor for many companies that want to settle in Lower Austria. This contributes a lot to our quality of life as a reason to settle in Lower Austria or to expand their business. Further, in the Europe Sustainable Development Report 2020, which ranks over 30 European countries in terms of sustainability criteria, Austria places fourth overall behind Finland, Sweden and Denmark. Those rankings also show that Austria and Lower Austria, as its largest federal state, is at the forefront of achieving sustainable development goals across Europe. This is not only due to the high priority given to sustainability in the country, but also to the innovative entrepreneurs. I'm glad that some of them join us in the discussion today. They are a great example of Lower Austria's fruitful environment for corporates and startups with a sustainable agenda. I find it particularly impressive that Austria achieves very good results in industry, innovation and infrastructure. Investments in infrastructure and innovation drive economic growth and create new jobs. Technological progress is particularly important in times of crisis in order to successfully master economic and ecological challenges. In Lower Austria, we do a lot to promote and accelerate sustainable economic activity. one of the 4 central principles of Law Austria's economic strategy is concerned with increasing sustainable corporate growth. In order to counteract climate change, the entire value chain of a company has to be evaluated. The main goals are the reduction of CO2 emissions, the saving of resources, and the establishment of sustainable energy systems. The access to new business areas and new technologies which create new jobs and promote innovation are linked to this. In this context, I would like to give an example. As part of the ecoplus action program for ecological site development, we are concerned with making existing business areas more attractive and ecological. Our goal is to counteract land consumption and soil sealing. Law Austria is even assuming a pioneering role in this context. We are the first federal state in Austria that established a program to provide companies with financial support for business area renewals. One thing is very clear to us. In order to maintain prosperity and quality of life, we must consolidate the balance between the economy and the environment. Professional site development has to go hand in hand with environmental criteria. Dear ladies and gentlemen, our goal is to make our business location attractive, taking ecological aspect into account, and to increase competitiveness in order to be well equipped for the future. As you can see, we in Law Austria are already on track. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Dochen. A good feeling that Law Austria is working very, very hard to stay on track here. Now let us join the rest of our panel today. But before I do that, I would like to point out that the necessary health precautions have been met, including negative COVID-19 testings for all our panelists in the morning. Hello everyone, glad to have you here. Discussing with us today from left to right are Markus Bittner, Managing Director NeoTwin and Project Manager Umdash Group Ventures. Hello. Eva Maria Binder, Director of Research and Development and Innovation at Erba AG. Elad Zohar, Founder and Managing Director at Spirulix. Fritz Dimmel, Founder and CTO of eFriends. Ms. Petra Patzelt, Chief Executive Ritzap and Senior Management at ecoplus Business Agency Law Austria. And last but certainly not least, Markus Wanko, Managing Director IST Cube.
Good morning.
Hello, everyone. Dear audience, please feel free to address our panelists anytime with the chat function we provided. We will collect all those questions and endeavor to answer them in our last segment of today's side event. Now, let's address our companies and startups first, shall we? Great. What are your focal points in the field of sustainable development? How do you achieve innovation in that area and contribute to future issues? Markus, would you be so kind to start?
Yeah, on behalf of Untitled Group Ventures, we are focusing on 2 main business areas. On the one hand, the retail sector, and the other is the AECO industry. AECO stands for Architecture, Engineering, Construction, Operation, and therefore covers the overall building life cycle. And if I want to dive into deep a little bit on the AECO industry, we are more interested in all potential interesting solutions from the first draft till refurbishment or demolition. And with regard to sustainable development, we are interested on the one hand in green materials with a net zero or even positive carbon footprint, but as well as bringing efficiency and effectivity to the AECO industry. On the one hand by using hardware, but as well as using software or even sensor technology, and therefore reducing waste in any concern. And we work on that by pushing our own R&D activities, by working together with universities and research institutes, and of course, by collaborating with startups.
Great. That's a good point. Eva Maria, would you be so kind to continue?
Yeah, I think it's nowadays it's not a question if we are working in sustainability, it's how we are doing this. And therefore, it's very important that it's not only part of the strategy, but we also have to get into action. This is very important. And as you said before, it's looking into new technologies, new companies, and try to find a way how we can move on in this regard. Nevertheless, I think it's also important that we consider in the topics of sustainability the employees, to keep them healthy, because only healthy employees can help you to be a sustainable company. In our company, we have actions like providing all employees and their families with vitamins. We provide PCR testing twice a week. We encourage vaccination. I think this is very important to support these kinds of things. We even provide support with regards to mental health issues, just like mediation, for example. So as a company, we have to look about or take care of the environment. We have to look about and take care of business development, of course, also of the financial results. But in the context of sustainability, I think it's very important to think about the people, because people help you to create profit and success. And the human factor is like inclusion and diversity. It's about gender, generations, ethnicities, national identity, LGBTQ plus topics. I think we have also to think in this regard of sustainability and support the successful company.
Great, absolutely. Elad, it's your turn.
So we are a Loro Austria nutrition company focusing on sustainable food production from microalgae. We actually started as a corporate research project when I was working for the Eva Group together with Dr. Binder and my current partner, Kalpfield. And although we spun off to transition from focus on animal nutrition to human nutrition, the key principle of sustainable operation for us has always been something in the lead. And it kept and it stayed that way all the years. The reason we went in this direction is because when we look at the future and the uncertainties, and especially now after COVID, when nobody really knows what will happen and how it will look like, for us, one thing is clear: population will grow, demand for food will grow, resources are limited. So it's up to us to develop a more sustainable supply chain, food chain, so our grandchildren will not grow in an era where there's a shortage of food. When it comes to how we implement sustainability in our system, after years of research, we developed an off-the-grid production model, which addresses what we believe are the key issues of the food industry. So starting with energy, we produce with 100% bioenergy provided by the coupled biogas plant that is an important part of our model. Regarding waste, we generate zero waste. We recycle all our bio-waste within our own system or by adding it to the biogas plant, and it's then used as fertilizer. We produce plant-based nutrients such as protein, vitamins, and minerals, and I think it's clear for everyone today how important it is to develop the alternatives to the animal industry, because it has a great impact on the environment. And last, by being able to produce it here in the region, despite the unfavorable weather conditions, we are able to avoid all the transport and shipping, which is also a major concern when it comes to global climate effects. So putting all this together, we believe that we have a very sustainable production model, and it's probably one of the most sustainable today, and we expect it to become also much more prominent in the future.
Fantastic. Good.
Yeah, so at eFriends, we are running the first and largest energy community across Austria, and sustainability and climate change are the drivers. This is our DNA, how to convince people to use energy. Yeah, so energy is one of the key factors in the climate change and sustainability. And our aim is to not do a top-down, but a bottom-up Energiewende. People need to, they have to want to do and be part of it. So our success is making a community that is able to change something. Yeah, and what we are doing is making it possible for people to sell their own produced energy, not only to the neighbors, but to anyone in Austria. And this helps on one hand that people think more about the energy usage and energy productions, but also we help small hydropower plants that they can still sell their energy, otherwise they have to close because they can get a better price. but it's more than that, because this would be a standard energy trading. What we are doing is we're giving people tools in their hands to understand their consumption behavior. They see in real time how much energy do I need, do I use, and when do I use it. Yeah, not the day after, or maybe after 1 year to get the bill from your utility. You get it in real time, and with that we see people change their behavior, and this is what everyone wants. People should use energy when it is available, when green energy is available, and this is our aim. And we also support now that we can turn on and turn off devices automatically, because you are not always at home. Right now, during a pandemic, maybe you are at home and you can turn on and turn off your dishwasher whenever you want. But hopefully this pandemic is over soon, and then you need to have also intelligent devices. You have to have intelligent charging infrastructure, and these are the things we are working on, so that people are not told not to use energy, but use it when it's available and when green energy is available. This is our take on sustainability, because using green energy is a good thing, but using energy when it's not available, when we have to import maybe gray energy and bad energy, let's say, this is what we want to circumvent.
Fritz, thank you very much. Very motivating so far. We heard about all those measures being set right now, but how to follow those footsteps, how to be part of sustainable development. You need support. And that brings us to our institutions today. What support opportunities do you offer for companies and startups that are home in the field of sustainability and maybe even beyond that?
I think we already got a good insight how multidimensional sustainability is. We heard about mental assistance for employees. We heard about influencing the behavior of people. We heard about recycling, waste management, zero waste. And so multidimensional is also the ecosystem here in Lower Austria. The ecosystem of support for companies when they settle, when they invest, and the ecosystem for startups. Starting with a business plan, courses, seminars, funding, assistance. We cooperate with institutions like East Austria. We have technology centers. We cooperate with high schools, with universities and universities of applied science to get students, to get graduates, to get postdocs, whatever you need. Because employees, as Eva Maria already said, are the asset of a company. So we do not only support by helping fundraising and getting state aid for investing and growing, but we also have a broad network of experts, and there are scientific communities, business communities, startup communities, incubators, accelerators, and we from Lower Austria, ecoplus, the business agency, and RITSAP, the startup agency, we try to connect those who must be connected to give the best support for a start and for growth here in Lower Austria.
Markus, I guess the stage is yours.
Well, let me return your question to you, which is, what is the one key positive effect that the pandemic has had? And I think it's quite clear, right? It's the fact that I think the huge achievements and advantages of scientific progress are crystal clear in the public focus. And I think this is a big achievement, because it is scientific research that is bringing us through the corona crisis. It is scientific research that also will bring us through the climate crisis. And what we do at ISTCube, hence to your question, we are funding projects that are based on scientific research. We are a venture capital fund, and maybe just one word about the genesis. And this is also where IST Austria, the institution you mentioned, is coming in. IST Austria is a scientific research institution that was founded 10, 12 years ago. It's really at the forefront in the disciplines it's covering globally. I think both Austria and Lower Austria, which is obviously supporting the institute to a very high degree, have made a great decision in bringing this institution to living. It's multidisciplinary, so we are really covering all the aspects that, particularly from a sustainability perspective and a climate perspective, are relevant in the physical sciences, life sciences, computer sciences. And what we did 3-4 years ago really was to start a venture capital fund, ISTCube, which has been brought together to support and finance spin-offs from academic research. We started initially fairly small. During the crisis, actually, during last year, we were able to increase the fund size quite significantly. We have now a bit more than 40 million euros available. We have invested so far in 10 portfolio companies, and I think the way we can help them is that we start really early, and even beyond before you start to incorporate and you think about spinning out technologies from an academic setting. We are there to help you shape the business idea, to shape the IP strategy, to help you with the IP out-licensing processes, and then help you develop the venture over time and finances, obviously.
Great, thank you very much. Now back to our startups, Fritz and Elad. This one is for you. What do you have for collaboration with companies, and what development are you currently striving for? Maybe Fritz?
Yeah, so we have already experience with different sizes of companies. We are partnering with other startups. For example, we are partnering right now with EET, which is a Styrian startup. They have these small PV solar panels for the balcony, because sometimes if you're living in a flat, you cannot afford to build something on the roof. So we are partnering with them. But we are also partnering with large and corporates. Even last year, RWA is an investor of us. We partnered with them. And also we are partnering with large utilities in Austria already, so we have some experience. 2 of the largest utilities already are using our technology for the field tests, so they are evaluating also using our technology. So we are not only an energy supplier of our own, but we want to also have this as a platform available so that others can use it to open up our technology for others. So this is on one hand, right now we are preparing our next round of investments because we want to not only stay in Austria, we want to have it as an international product available, and this is something we are preparing right now.
Fantastic. Elad?
Yeah, I think the same for us. As a young startup, we depend a lot on collaborations because we are limited with our manpower and resources. And we started as a collaborative project, and yeah, we try always to collaborate with Austrian companies whenever we can. And of course, being in Lower Austria, we have a lot of other companies in Lower Austria that we cooperate with. That's also part of the sustainability and minimizing the whole transport and working together closely. When it comes to research, we collaborate with a lot of universities and research institutes, such as IFA and BEST, both located at the Technopole in Tulln. And we also collaborate with some of our customers and suppliers. So we have an FFG food innovation project with 10 other Austrian companies, which is ongoing on this topic of developing sustainable food together. And one of the topics that is important for us, of course, is the sustainable packaging solutions, which is something we try to follow for many years. And hopefully we can implement solutions also in our process, in our company. Solutions that fit also a small startup at small scale. When it comes to production and operation, we had to collaborate with a lot of experts because a lot of what we did was basically done for the first time in that certain way. So we collaborate with agriculture specialists, with energy experts, with regulation and legal advisors, and many other companies. And now that the system is operational, our model is working, and let's say we put the proof of concept phase behind us, we of course are interested to duplicate and expand our models. So we would be happy to collaborate with companies that share our values and can support us take our model also to other countries. So engineering and construction companies, legal support, of course, financial investors, and more than anyone, farmers and biogas plant owners who want to expand and diversify their operation and go into a new sustainable field of working.
Great. So we heard collaborating, growing, being supported very well, and then it's growing into corporates, into larger ones even. So that brings me to you. What does collaboration with startups look like at that stage, or does it look like at your company?
I think they're. I take yours. We are tested. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, there we go.
we worked together already a couple of years ago.
And you
very well.
share the same mic. Great. That's collaboration.
And this is the collaboration with the startups that we would like. It's about two things. Basically, it's the speed and not to invent the wheel twice. I think this is very important. In huge corporations, sometimes there are some intentions that you invent the wheel twice. So therefore you have to look outside. You don't need to do everything inside, and therefore it's very important to work together with startups, new organizations, and also to get momentum and speed into this whole story. It's to a certain point, of course, also critical because we have to meet different expectations. Corporates have to produce financial results. Startups, they are a bit more, easier in this regard. But at the end of the day, what's the goal? That we are successful together and that we manage our own expectations and that we prosper together. I think this is the most important thing. Therefore, I really like to work together with small companies, with startup companies, with innovative ideas, but you have to get some adjustment and tolerance into this, I would say.
You do.
Thank you for the call.
Yeah, cooperation with Unterschub Ventures could take place in different ways and on different levels. That means, firstly, classical or traditional venture capital activities. We normally take over or try to take over a stake that is above 25%. That means we check startups very carefully. On the one hand, the idea itself, but also the technical foundation, but as well the sales forecast and the overall business model. And in addition to that, I think it's very important to mention that we are not interested in an exit in a certain period of time. When we invest, we are there to stay and to conquer the market together. And second, the cooperation could be on the development side. That means from paid technical search or prototype development or stepping into a joint venture, bringing forward new technologies. And thirdly, cooperation on the sales side. That means working as multiplier, as reseller. This also works vice versa. This means not only in the direction from the startups to us, but also in the other direction. And also bridging products together. That means by unified sales activities, for example, when stepping into tendering phase and when you have better chances by having an overall product portfolio, then we are also collaborating very deep with startups as well.
Thank you very much. So dear audience, you heard how to plug into the Lower Austria network and get your own success story in our market started. Also, thank you to the panelists once again. It was very insightful. And as far as I see it, we had several questions in our chat. So let's continue to cover at least some of them. I hope we have enough time. The first one says, we're a startup from Slovenia. What support from the RITSAP can we count on when entering Lower Austria? This one obviously goes to you, Petra.
Yes, thank you. What I want to mention first is, I think the ecosystem I mentioned before is represented here at the panel. In one or the other way, ecoplus and RITSAP are in contact with all of these actors. So we know each other, not often personally. Some of you, yes. Some of you the first time. Thank you very much. What we try is a tailor-made solution for everyone who wants to invest. Whether it is a technology center or a tailor-made business object, business premises, the funding question, we heard about business angels, incubators, where you can get money, know-how, and a broad network of scientists and specialists. Elad mentioned Technopol Tulln. This is one example for how we try to develop an ecosystem. There is a University of Applied Science. There are companies, corporates, there are startups, spin-offs, and we are trying to manage this location, this hotspot. We also have clusters where companies work together in innovation projects, and you can in German, I would say andocken, so you can get connected with whatever you want and whomever you need to develop your business. And this is our part. We are some kind of location manager for whatever is needed. So this is a very general answer that I can give, because I don't know what kind of company, what kind of field they are active in. But I would say we can cover whatever is needed. And especially now, as we heard about Doka Ventures, for me it's located in Amstetten, of course it's international. And we talked about what can RITSAP do. We manage a location in Amstetten, a startup center, and there we have a very sustainable project now as incubator. Let's say they have developed a photovoltaic floater for water surfaces. It's called Soul Ocean and is now looking for investors. Perhaps you already had contact. So there is the broad connection between what we do, how we try to help, and what we can offer here in Lower Austria. We all together. This is the ecosystem.
A wonderful description of it. Here's another one, and this one goes to Markus from IST Cube. And it says, is the IST Cube, okay, that's not spelled right, an open investor network? Can other investors participate in the support services there?
Yeah, thanks very much for the question. So I think what we managed to do is that we brought together a fairly interesting investor group. We have 25 investors roughly so far, and it's a mix of international investment funds, family offices, corporates. I can name a few, Berndorf in Lower Austria actually, Miebe in Upper Austria, Wiener Städtische, so a couple of insurance and financial investors. And yes, in principle, it's still possible. I think I managed the 40 million round that we closed now in December, but for the next few months, it's still possible to participate. Let me also say, and also because this is a Lower Austrian round, obviously, that we cooperate extremely well with the region. Lower Austria is an investor in the fund as well. So we have public investors, the European Investment Fund, and Austria's agencies on the federal as well as on the regional level in Lower Austria. And we also cooperate really well in, since we have talked about locations here, to operate IST Park, which is a technology park that we have just built together with ecoplus actually during the last couple of years.
Great, thank you. I hope that answers the question. The next one goes to Eva Maria from Erba AG, and it says, oh, that's a challenging one. Why Lower Austria in particular? Or to put it another way, where do you see the location advantage over the locations in, or over other locations in the EU? It's a question from Germany.
That's a cool one. Not only because I'm living in Tulln, where we have our campus, research campus. No, actually it's a historical story. We started more than 25 years ago with a collaboration with the IFA in Tulln, and it just developed over the years. So the campus grew, and it was the super decision because the collaboration worked so well. Both parties, which means our company as well as the academic part, they grew in this regard. We could develop together, and we could, of course, also insource some funds, let it be from FFG or the Christian Doppler societies. So this was really a joint journey, which was really cool on one hand. And for us as a corporation, we also have additional advantages because many of our staff, they emerged out of this collaboration. So in an optimum term, somebody starts as an intern, does his bachelor, master, PhD thesis, whatever, and ends up in our company. So we have really a good network and environment here. And with all respect, Tulln, our campus Tulln is pretty close to Vienna. This also helps, to be honest.
It does. Vienna is a kind of light spot on there. The next one goes to Fritz. And it's a quite short one. I'm not actually aware which country it comes from, but it says, is it possible for a private person to join eFriends also from other countries than Austria?
So still right now we are working in Austria, but this is the aim of our next step to get international, to expand, and the next step would be to go in other European countries, and then we want to allow this across Europe, of course. But right now It's still in Austria, but at least in Austria we're the largest and the only one energy community that's available. So here everyone can really participate, from private over companies. So we have a lot of different customers right now, but right now it's limited to Austria, but this is the next logical step to expand this.
Okay, great. So that will soon change, not too long, and they can be part of your friends. The next one goes again back to Markus from IST. I guess your explanations before triggered some more interest here. It says, what were some outstanding examples of collaboration with startups? Could you give us more insight into that?
Yeah, no, sure, I'm happy to. So I think I mentioned before that we have invested in 10 startups so far, spin-offs, some from IST, but mostly from other institutions really. So from the Medical University Vienna, technical universities. And it's there's a certain focus on life science projects, and that's starting with synthetic biology, for instance. So synthesis of long-stranded DNA, for instance, is one of the projects. But across the physical sciences as well, one is a waveguide-based new LCD type of display technology project from a photonics group. Across to the computer sciences and platforms. One is, for instance, a lung diagnostic AI application that we've supported. So it's a pretty broad range, and whatever the origin of the question and the ideas, we're happy to engage, of course.
Great, thank you very much. The next one goes to Markus Bittner from Umdash and from NeoTwin, and it's also a challenging one. It says that the building industry has received a lot of attention in the meantime, being one of the possible profiteers of the crisis. What do you plan to do with all that acquired attention and also profits to maybe shift the sustainability in your company even further?
Yeah, as part of the Untitled Group, we were always focusing on the construction industry and bringing forward new technologies as well as new materials. As we have already heard, we have a big sister company called Doka, which is already engaged in 70 countries all over the world. And by this, we took this relationship to bringing together, on the one hand, forcing our staff and to bundling our forces to bring forward new materials and the R&D activities, and also by going into new markets. That means we can take advantage of the existing branches of the existing organizations in certain countries. And I think as the Doka already has a 150 years of history, we are also very well known within universities and also research institutes, and by this we have a very good foundation. That we are contacted by startups, by all the institutions itself, and by this, to go into new journeys and new developments.
Thank you for that. The next one goes to Fritz again, and it says, what are the average costs for the installation of a PV system, and when will it be profitable? Maybe you can give some details, some insight into that.
Yeah. So we are not building PV systems, but we have a lot of customers having them. So of course we have experience. So for a typical household, I would say it starts with 7,000–8,000 euros right now. It's the minimum what you should do, but of course they are subsidized as well. Yeah. So, and with this amount of money, I think the return is below 10 years already. Yeah. If you try to use as much energy as possible when you produce it, and our system is exactly helping you doing that, because it lets you learn when you are using energy and when you are producing energy. Usually, if you have a PV system on your roof, you can use, if you do nothing special, you can use 1/3, and 2/3 of the energy is lost into the grid, and you get a minimum amount of money for this. And with our system, you can sell the energy for a better price than you get on the average market. Yeah. But what a lot of people and customers are doing is the following: they are not selling them; they are using it. They are using it for other locations. For example, if you have some kids that are in the university and studying, for example, in Vienna, you can give them the energy for free, that then you have a better usage of your own produced solar system. Yeah. So first side, you would say, I want to get more money, but in the end, you are going to use your own produced goods for yourself, for your family, for your friends. And this is the aim what we are doing. Use the energy and distribute it to the people you like, you love. And I think that's a better usage than just getting few euro cents from any operator.
Okay, great. I hope that answers the question as well. And the next one goes to Elad, and it says, I'm quite certain I saw your products on TV, or your company on TV, sorry. And now I would like to see your products in my refrigerator. Where can I buy that?
Well, we're happy we launched, after participating in the TV, we launched our products in retail at Rewe in Austria. So our products are available at a lot of the Rewe shops, so Billa, Bipa, and Billa Plus. We also have an online shop, so that's probably the easiest way to get direct product. And we have a list of small and medium B2B partners that are listed on our website. So yeah, now it's out there. It used to be on our website only. Now we're out there, and go free. Go get them.
Okay, you're free to do so, please. There is another one coming just in that moment. And it says, just give me a second. It needs some time to be. Yeah, what is your, oh, here it is. Elad, what is your favorite recipe for one of your products?
My favorite recipe. To be honest, I like it in the simplest form, so I prefer using the real fresh algae mixed in a juice. But yeah, I have a very simple palate, so yeah, I'm a simple guy.
Okay, great. And there is another one. I guess that's quite obvious one from Austria itself, and it says we, your company, would like to improve our online presence with our own web shop. Is there any support for that? I guess that the most reasonable answer we'll get from you, Petra, right?
Yes, it depends. We have a subsidy for digitalization for complex projects in Lower Austria, and there is let me say, a little bit easier support model on the federal level, where you can get, as far as I know, cash for implementing a web shop. Okay. If it's not only a web shop, but let's say integrated project for the whole logistics within a company, and all departments are involved, and then you can get a more sophisticated project. For that you can get from Lower Austria.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. And the next one goes again back to Markus from IST, saying, for which topics does IST Cube offer its support? I guess that's related to which topical fields of science is your support connected, or if there are any which are excluded from your support opportunities.
No, we are really broad across the different formal and natural sciences that I mentioned before, right? So I think clearly a focus on life sciences, but also physical sciences, computer sciences. I think one of the advantages when it comes to experimental activities is that we can offer lab space as well. So we have fully equipped, as I mentioned before, together with ecoplus, developed labs, molecular biology labs that can be used. Also the scientific infrastructure, obviously, at the institute. So I think for all experimental fields, it is probably particularly interesting, but we're quite broad and open.
Okay, fantastic. So we are out of questions now, and this brings us to the end of our side event today. So rest assured, if any questions pop up in the meantime, out of our discussion round, we will cover them afterwards. At this point, I would like to thank our panelists once again. It was great having you here, a great and very fruitful and insightful discussion. We heard a lot about support and funding opportunities over here. We heard about energy communities, food production with 0% carbon footprint with biogas and so on. We heard from our corporates about talent handling in the terms of matter. We heard also about green building, as far as see it here with Umdash. It takes all of that, what we heard today, and even more to achieve a balance between economy and environment and to counter climate change. So it was very important and very, I'm grateful for that, to discuss that important topic together with you, all of you. I would also like to thank and give a huge shout out to our viewers out there. I hope we could inspire you to tackle sustainable development at your corporates and your companies. Please feel free to get in touch with any of us via our exhibition slot. We are also present with our own profiles, I hope, for all of you at the platform itself. Just give us a chat, ask us questions, appoint a meeting for today or even the days afterwards. Thank you very much for your attention. The most important, stay healthy and goodbye.